So emotional scenes at the airport as those evacuation flights finally landed after flying through Dushanbe in Tajikistan and Doha in Qatar because of safety concerns over flight routes directly out of Afghanistan.
A day of relief for the 300 Indians who reached the national capital early morning from Kabul. Many were evacuated on 3 commercial flights, Air India, Indigo and Vistara, via Tajikistan's capital Dushanbe and Qatar's Doha. Chandan Nandi, who is from West Bengal, was working at the Indian embassy in Kabul when the city fell to the Taliban.
अचानक काबुल के बाहर जो भी सिटी है, जो भी स्टेट है, वो तो कैप्चर कर रहा था, लेकिन हम लोग ये मतलब बिल्कुल हम लोगों को ये अंदाजा था ही नहीं कि 2 घंटे के अंदर काबुल मतलब तालिबान के हाथ में आ जाएंगे। एयरपोर्ट का हालात बहुत बुरा है कि हम लोग एयरपोर्ट जा नहीं पा रहा हूँ। जो मेन प्रॉब्लम था, बहुत फायरिंग हो रहा था, काफी सारे बंदे मारे भी गए।
He was rescued from Kabul and taken to the neighboring Tajikistan. From there, he took an Air India flight to Delhi. At Delhi airport, they waited over 7 hours for their RT-PCR test results before being allowed to leave. But Jafar from Chennai says the relief to be on Indian soil outweighs any frustration. He was working at the Kabul airport and was evacuated with 33 of his colleagues. He is now frantically booking connecting flights for his co-workers.
जान हाथ में लेके चले क्योंकि बाहर अटैक हो रहा है, लोग अंदर आ रहे हैं, वो जो तालिबान जो लेके अंदर आ रहे हैं, हम लोगों को डर रहा था कि वो अंदर घुस गए तो हम लोग मार देंगे.
His colleague Kamal can't stop smiling at the prospect of finally seeing his family in Bangalore.
What can I say? I get back to them, I loved ones. I love them very much and I am here with them now. Once I land in my motherland, I am feeling very relaxed now.
A long and exhausting ordeal is finally over for at least 100 Indians who are stuck in Afghanistan. For some, there is still further to go to be home with loved ones, but in their own words, the relief to be back on home soil is massive. With Pawan Kumar, Meher Pandey for NDTV.
Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri has cited these evacuations from Afghanistan to back the controversial Citizenship Amendment Bill, which set off protests around the country in which nearly 100 people died in police firing and related violence. The law allows citizenship to persecuted non-Muslims in neighboring countries who have reached India before 2015. In fact, he writes, recent developments in our volatile neighborhood and the way Sikhs and Hindus are going through a harrowing time are precisely why it was necessary to enact the Citizenship Amendment Act. In an exclusive interview to NDTV, the brother of Ashraf Ghani, the former president of Afghanistan who fled the country, Hashmat Ghani, has said he doesn't explicitly support the Taliban but says there is no choice but to accept them. He spoke to NDTV's Vishnu Shah.
So your brother, President Ashraf Ghani, was seen to have betrayed his people, and reports say that he made off with millions of dollars. Are you still in touch with him?
Well, I am in touch. That is the wrong accusation. The plane had landed in Uzbekistan. It was search. The plane was landed after that in the UAE. There was no money in it. He left in a hurry. There was an assassination plot on him. I mean, you know, if he would have stayed and got him killed with all our tribal ties, all our political ties, everything else, it would have turned into a total mess. In a few days, I'm sure in coming days, all that could be explained. Those accusations are false. I'm sure once the UAE government allows them to leave that country or come out openly and give the details, both those governments can certify that he had no cash or anything like that.
All right. Okay. Sir, door-to-door searches continue. Women journalists are not allowed to return to work. Aren't some of the promises made by the Taliban already starting to unravel?
But there's certainly some of the elements on it that really are on the older mentality, and I hope once they come together and they form a government, they could really bring out a full agenda clear across the board so people understand where they stand. And Once the jails broke, and a lot of the criminals element also got out of jail, there's a lot of, especially now it's less than the first year, there were a lot of the elements that were going to the houses for looting, and also some of the old Ekpatyar lot. Even in the first 2 hours, a group of them tried to break into my compound also to take a car.
And yet you support them.
They joined once the Taliban leadership came in. So there are all kind of elements at play. There are criminals elements, there are eight elements, there are other people. For them also to organize that in such a short span of time, I could understand is a difficult one, because there was a vacuum of power also in the entire government setup, just vanished overnight.
Sir, you are seeing already in Afghanistan a handful of military reverses. Also, we are seeing Amrullah Saleh, the first vice president, starting a resistance movement in the Panjshir. Many people would say that this is the beginning of yet another civil war. How would you respond?
Actually, no. Ahmad Masood, some of the Charanwal Ikram and some of the most senior Panjshiris are in talks. Even some of them have called through me for a peaceful resolution of Panjshir. Amrullah is a loner, he's a total idiot. He's the one that ruined my brother and ruined the country among a few others with his fake theories and lies. He is not somebody that has much of a follower.
Sir, do you believe that India should have diplomatic relations with the Taliban?
I think it should be seen. I cannot, there is a strong Pakistan influence. I don't doubt or I don't deny it. I think once the government forms in, they have no choice but to have a political relationship. And if it was my decision, they should have invite everyone back. Without international relationship and without the regional relationship, no government can function.
Sir, how would you respond to those who say that the Taliban, who you are now supporting, are just an extension of the Pakistani ISI?
Sir, I have a joke for you. Years ago, I said it in Pakistan. Afghans can be rented. Afghans cannot be bought. Over time, their rent increases to so high that no one can afford it.
What happens when America and NATO forces go away from Kabul airport? Will there be a bloodbath? That is the worry. What is your view?
No, I don't think so. They have shown a courtesy to the Afghan businesses. They have shown a courtesy to those that reach them. If they can convince people that they are out for peace, I'm sure the rest will join in. As far as women's rights, they keep on saying that they would allow them to work, and they're not going to deny them. I hope that there are occasions that some girls in some locality, like I said, sporadic groups have been prevented. But we hear this over and over from the senior ones that they do not have any objection. I have risked my life over and over several times and decide on it. One more time isn't going to hurt it.
Okay.
The accepting and supporting is two different things on it. So if you're trying
all right,
to...
so you're saying you are... All right, I take your point.
The
line is a bit bad, and I've finally been able to hear you clearly. You are saying that you accept the Taliban, you do not support them. Is that right?
Exactly. Supporting is a very strong word.
An 11-member delegation of 10 political parties from Bihar under the leadership of Chief Minister Nitish Kumar is expected to meet Prime Minister Modi to demand a caste-based census. Opposition leader Tejasvi Yadav and others are part of this delegation as well. Let's take a look at what the Bihar Chief Minister had to say.
सब लोग जाएंगे और 10 पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के एक-एक प्रतिनिधि शामिल होकर के इसमें हम लोग सब एक साथ जाएंगे और उनके समक्ष में अपनी बात रखेंगे। ये तो पहले ही से जान रहे हैं कि बिहार में मतलब 19 में ही एक यूनानिमस रिजोल्यूशन हुआ था इसके पक्ष में और फिर 20 में भी विधानसभा में यूनानिमस और 19 में तो विधानसभा विधान परिषद दोनों में हुआ था।
Akhilesh joining us on the phone line for more on that big meeting. Akhilesh, parties in Bihar then really continuing pressure on their demand for this caste-based census?
That's right, Ankita. In fact, this demand by the Bihar parties actually put the BJP in the center in a fix because the Uttar Pradesh elections are just 6 months away. And this demand can actually open a Pandora's box as far as the central government is concerned. They feel that once you do the caste-based census, after that there will be demand to increase the quota from 50% ceiling. So that is why the government is very cautious. But of course, the BJP feels that some decision has to be taken this way or the other way because the party has been supporting this demand. When it comes to Bihar, in both Bihar Assembly and the Bihar Legislative Council, the BJP had supported the resolution on caste-based census. So BJP, in fact, has been supporting this demand. But recently in the monsoon session, when replying to a written question, the Home Ministry has categorically denied that there will be no caste-based census. So of course, now the government has to take a call, and Nitish Kumar on his part has continued to mount pressure on the central government in this regard.
All right, Akhilesh, thanks very much. Of course, we'll continue to track this story with you through the day. The Finance Ministry has summoned Infosys Chief Salil Parekh today to explain the continuing glitches in the new income tax e-filing portal, which has been in use since June. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman had expressed concern over it earlier. Mr. Parekh and Senior Executive Praveen Rao were asked to ensure that the portal was made more humane and user-friendly. A tweet from the official Income Tax India handles reads, "The Ministry of Finance has summoned Shri Salil Parekh, MD and CEO of Infosys, to explain to Honourable Finance Minister as to why even after 2.5 months since the launch of the new e-filing portal, glitches have not been resolved." Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri has cited the evacuations from Afghanistan to back the controversial Citizenship Amendment Act, which had set off an escalating string of protests around the country in which nearly 100 people died. The law allows citizenship to persecuted non-Muslims in neighbouring countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. He tweeted, "Recent developments in our volatile neighbourhood and the way Sikhs and Hindus are going through a harrowing time are precisely why it was necessary to enact the Citizenship Amendment Act." In other news, an 11-member delegation of 10 political parties from Bihar under the leadership of Chief Minister Nitish Kumar is meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi to demand a caste-based census. Opposition leader Tejasvi Yadav and other leaders of the opposition will be part of this multi-party delegation. Now, the Bihar Assembly had passed unanimous resolutions in 2019 and again in 2020 asking for a caste-based headcount across the country in the 2021 census.
सब लोग जाएंगे और 10 पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के एक-एक प्रतिनिधि शामिल होकर के इसमें हम लोग सब एक साथ जाएंगे और उनके समक्ष में अपनी बात रखेंगे। ये तो पहले ही से जान रहे हैं कि बिहार में मतलब 19 में ही एक यूनानिमस रिजोल्यूशन हुआ था इसके पक्ष में और फिर 20 में भी विधानसभा में यूनानिमस और 19 में तो विधानसभा विधान परिषद दोनों में हुआ था।
हमारी पार्टी के मांग पे, हमारे नेता की मांग पे 2 बारी बिहार विधानसभा से प्रस्ताव पारित हो चुका है। प्रस्ताव पारित होने के बाद 2 बार हम लोग बैठे हुए हैं। डबल इंजन की सरकार है। मुख्यमंत्री जी भले ही हमको आपके नेतृत्व में जाना पड़े, चलिए प्रधानमंत्री जी से मिलने। मुख्यमंत्री जी भी हाथ पे हाथ धरे बैठे हुए थे। कुछ गाड़ी तो बढ़ नहीं रही थी प्रस्ताव पारित होने के बाद। तो हम लोगों की मांग पे मुख्यमंत्री ने प्रधानमंत्री से समय मांगा। देरी समय मिला, लेकिन समय मिला है तो कल जाकर के इस चीज को जो है मांग को उनके सामने।
My colleague Akhilesh joining us with more on that story. Akhilesh, a BJP member is also going to be part of this delegation, we're told, that's going to the Prime Minister. But explain to us why this could be rather a tightrope walk for the centre.
Well, of course, it's a tightrope because, it opens a Pandora box. So once you decide to go for a caste-based census,
the next step will be that they will be demanding that since they have a major share in the population, so that this 50% ceiling which was stipulated by the Supreme Court in the Indira Sahni judgment for reservation should be increased, and that demand has already been, we have seen that how that demand has been raised by various leaders including NCP leader Sharad Pawar. And BJP of course is in a phase because in the next 6 months there are crucial elections in Uttar Pradesh where the Samajwadi Party has also raised the similar demands, and where the BJP is trying its best to balance the caste equations and is trying to take the non-Yadav OBCs along with it. So BJP of course has to decide one way or the other, and the party now of course says that it has never been opposed to this demand of caste-based census. We have seen that Sushil Modi was a senior BJP leader from Bihar. He has said yesterday that BJP in fact had said in 2014 by Gopinath Munde, who had made a statement in parliament saying that BJP favors a caste-based census, but since 2011 data had many discrepancies, so the data could not be made public. And similarly in 2018 also, the then Home Minister Rajnath Singh has also made a similar statement on the floor of the House. But recently in the monsoon session, the government has replied very categorically saying that there is no proposal to conduct a caste-based census. But now since JDU, which is a key ally partner of the BJP in Bihar, is raising this demand, so the centre has to decide one way or the other. But of course, Nitish Kumar has another option also. If the centre government decides not to go ahead with the caste-based census, then the Bihar itself can go for this census.
All right, Akhilesh Sharma reporting there for us. Let's move on. The Finance Ministry summoning Infosys Chief Salil Parekh today, and he will have to explain why there are continuing glitches in the new income tax e-filing portal that's been in use since June. The Finance Minister had earlier also expressed her concerns over this. Infosys says the portal is still under maintenance, but then said that the site was live. Sunil Prabhu joining us. Sunil, what more do we know about this, and why are these glitches continuing? Infosys will have to respond to those concerns.
Well, Ankita, this is the second meeting that the Finance Minister is having with Infosys, and I think somewhere down the line she has been extremely and deeply concerned, has pulled up Infosys not once. This will be the second time. It's in that backdrop that she is going to really, as they popularly say, the right act to tell Infosys that you either, perform, otherwise it's going to be something that they will have to take some drastic steps, because people of this country are suffering. The income tax department is also suffering. Revenues, there will be a shortfall. It's now more or less confirmed, though we'll have to wait for the official word, that the income tax deadlines will have to be extended. There are serious concerns been expressed by chartered accountants, and it's in this backdrop that the Infosys late last night said that their portal has been up after going for an emergency shutdown. But either way, I think the Revenue Secretary, the Finance Minister are all very, very concerned about the non-performance of Infosys on an important issue like this, and hopefully these issues will now be sorted out. Let's remember the GST as well as Aadhaar has been dealt by Infosys, and it's in that backdrop that it was given the contract to deal with the income tax portal. Now we'll have to wait and see whether that entire process has been integrated, all data is back, and it is user-friendly, which was the whole idea behind this entire exercise.
All right, Sunil, thanks very much indeed. We will take a very quick break at this point. Back with lots more. Welcome back to Good Morning India. Schools across Tamil Nadu are gearing up for the partial reopening of classes 9 to 12 from the 1st of September. The state government has issued guidelines and SOPs including 6 feet physical distancing in classes, 50% strength at any point, separate entry and exit, besides clear signage. The state's daily tally has drastically dipped to less than 2,000. NDTV's Sam Daniel spoke to Ms. John Sagana, principal of the Everwin Vidyashram School, on the steps being taken.
Schools across Tamil Nadu are getting ready for partial reopening from the 1st of September for classes from 9th to 12th. And we come to you from the Everwin Vidyashram Senior Secondary School in Chennai, where in fact in this class you see how the desks have been marked clearly, only one student on this. and the government has also asked the schools to have only 50% of student strength at any point in time. And joining us now, Ms. John Sahana, the principal of the school. Ma'am, thank you very much for your time. What specific measures are you taking to ensure the SOP given by the government will be complied with, ma'am?
It is only one in a row, and it is only 50% of the students' strength should attend the class. So in a class of 40, only 20 will attend in a session. So we are going for shift system. So maybe Monday, Wednesday and Friday batch of students will be attending the classes, whereas the other set of students will be attending the classes on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday.
How would you ensure physical distancing at all other places?
Now we have intervals, that is the time when all gather together. So each section will have a different break time. So we do follow that. We make one section to come for one particular time, and in corridors also we have made arrangements such that only few can stand in the boxes which is specified. So once they come inside the room, only then the next room will be allowed for the break.
It's mandatory all teachers and staff ought to be vaccinated, ma'am. Have you ensured that? How do you do that?
Yes, of course. All the teachers here are vaccinated because we do run camps in our zone. So we do have regularly camps running. So every teacher in Everwin, including our correspondent also, he took along with us only.
That was Ms. John Sahana, the principal of Everwin Vidyashram, talking to us on how they're getting ready to reopen schools partially. In Chennai with Suresh, Sam Daniel, Find the TV.